I just wasn't ready for that to happen. Because I just didn't want to say goodbye. Find out she's a cold-hearted bitch. Today I want to discuss the 3 books on my March TBR. I'm Mike, and you're reading with One Mundane Man. If you hear some roaring in the background, that's the wind. Because Mother Nature in Ohio is a bit schizophrenic. Yesterday, she was so friendly and warm and inviting. 60 some degrees, almost 70 if it wasn't 70. Wake up this morning and you find out she's a cold-hearted bitch. She is standoffish. She is blowing some wind, cold air. We're going to be in the 20s by the time I get finished recording this video and editing it. Freezing rain, but that's Ohio. I'm not going to let that bring me down. I've got 3 books I'm going to read in March. 2 I already know I'm going to read. I'll discuss those here. And then the third one, I'm hoping all of you will help me pick one. So let's dive in. Okay, the first book, or actually it'll be the second book I'm going to read in March, is Death's End by Cixin Liu. It's the third and final book of the trilogy, Remembrance of Earth's Past. And I don't have a good feeling about Earth. I think this is Earth has gone sideways since the first book. Or this whole thing has gone sideways for Earth since that first book. And I don't see it getting straightened out in this book. I mean, shoot, the name of the series, Remembrance of Earth's Past, is enough foreshadowing to tell me that I'm going to shed a tear or two when I get to the end of this book. I actually put off reading it for a little bit. I bought it over the weekend, went to a couple of bookstores, picked it up, and then not to read it right away for a couple of reasons. One, I just wasn't ready for the series to end. It's going to be one of those series that I'm going to miss. I'm going to miss the characters, I'm going to miss the writing, I'm going to miss the storyline. And that's only happened with a handful of books in my life to where I truly wished there was more to it. And this was going to be one of those. So I was putting off reading it because I just didn't want to say goodbye to it. Oh, God. That's gone. I'm better. Oh my gosh. Didn't want to say goodbye. Anyway. Second reason I was putting it off is because I just don't want Earth to end the way I think. I think it's going to be a dark book, and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to face the finality of Earth. If in fact that's what happens, I don't know what happens, of course, because I haven't read it, but haven't read any spoilers either. But I don't. I just wasn't ready for that to happen. I wasn't ready to read, that ending yet. So, Death's End, Cixin Liu is probably going to be the second book I read, primarily because I like to read a smaller book at the first. It's kind of like, who was it, the general who said, if you get up and make the bed, you've accomplished one thing, and that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day. Well, I mean, I don't make the bed first thing, so I'm really effing up the rest of my day, and I have been for a long time. But if I start with a shorter book in each of the months, then that's one book towards my goal right away, and then I feel a little bit better about diving into, a thicker book. I think this has almost 200,000 words in it, so it's going to be a big book. So it'll be the second book I read in March. The first book I'm going to read in March is The Zone of Interest by Martin Amis. And this one's going to make me cry too. This one, I want to read this one because the Oscar-nominated movie is an adaptation of this story. And I didn't know that when I saw the movie trailer a few months back. I just thought it was its own little standalone story. Found out it was this book that it was based on, There's that daggum stamp. Hate that stamp. Wish they wouldn't do that. So I didn't want to see the movie. Let's get back on track. Didn't want to see the movie because I haven't read the book yet. And I try to read the books before I see the movies. Books are always better, or mostly better. So I want to read this before I rent the movie. So Zone of Interest, because I enjoy World War II history. And the third reason is this is the fictionalization of Rudolf Höss's life. And Rudolf Höss was the commandant of Auschwitz. So no need to say that I will, this will bring a tear or two, I'm sure, to my eyes. It's a love story set against the worst backdrop I think you could imagine. So that's the three reasons why I want to read the book. Because of the movie, I want to see the movie. I want to read the book before the movie. World War II buff, and it's a fictionalization of Rudolf Höss's life. And I'm not anticipating it to end up, it's not going to be a redemption story, I'm sure. I don't think this is going to be like Thomas Keneally's Schindler's List at all. So I think it's going to be a dark, brutal ride through all 80,000 words, or however many's in here. And I'm going to be in a bad place afterwards. So, which is why I figured I might as well continue with the somberness and continue with Death's End and wrap those things up. So, book 3, Zone of Interest. Okay, here's where I can use all of your help. I have 3 books that first books in a trilogy or in a series of books. And I have some idea of which way I want to go. But I'm not 100% sure. So I thought you guys could help me. If I gave you these 3 books, you could write in the comments which one you think I should read next. Or if you have a different direction that you think I should go, then put that in the comments too. Absolutely. So the first book that I'm contemplating is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. So it's the first book of the Kingkiller Chronicle series. I think from what I understand, it's a bit of a quest. It's an adventure. It's in the lines of Tolkien and some of the others. And I kind of like that. That's the kind of fantasy that I've really have taken to. So the first option is The Name of the Wind, Patrick Rothfuss. I've heard great things about it. I think it scores well on Goodreads, and I think I would be excited to read it. A lot of booktubers say great things about The Name of the Wind. The second book scares the hell out of me, and that is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Sanderson doesn't scare me. I hear he's a phenomenal writer, writes a tight story, but magic scares me. Magic scares me, and it scares me mostly because of how complicated magic was in Gardens of the Moon. That was so complex. And it took me probably 80% of the book to understand how some of the magic worked. So because of that, Mistborn scares me. So if I had to rate these in the order of what I want to read, this would be third, only because magic scares me. Even though I hear great things, I hear how easy it is to read, how much fun it is, and the magic system isn't convoluted and complicated. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, book 3 is another one by Brandon Sanderson, The Way of the Kings. And it's book 1 of the Stormlight Archive. I hear amazing things about this book. I think it has everything I would like in a fantasy. But what scares me about this is 200,000 plus words. So that would be 2 really big books in March. And because Death's End is close to a 200,000 itself. And so I read about, and I'm a stat nerd, so ignore me if you could care less. And most people probably care less. But I read around 400 to 500,000 words a month on average. And I have a spreadsheet that I track all that nonsense on. So we're looking at about 500,000 words in the 2 books that I'm going to read, and if I jump into Sanderson. But I hear great things, so maybe I would read just 2 in March, and this would be the first one I finish in April. But let me know what you think. And just to recap, book 1 is The Name of the Wind. Book 2 is Mistborn by Sanderson. And book 3 is The Way of the Kings, Sanderson. Let me know in the comments what direction you think I should take. One of these 3 or something altogether different. Well, that's my TBR for March. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button down below. Also, subscribe. I would like for you to take this journey with me. I'd like for us to discover these books together as we traverse the BookTube universe. So until then, please be careful. Please take care.